Hey guys, I am Ken Ross here. I'm a business consultant that specializes in reducing costs for businesses by looking at their essential expenses, and today is no exception. I am interviewing my business development consultant, Jeff Tockman. How are you today?
I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me on your interview show.
Yes, I absolutely love it. We definitely have quite a bit to talk about. I want to understand your business a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into this.
I grew up in New York, went to school in DC, and then Arizona State for law and business. And after I graduated, I worked for Solomon Smith Barney, which is part of Citigroup, a big company, and then a couple small investment banks, and on to American Express Financial Advisors, which is currently Ameriprise today. And
Wow.
when I was there at Solomon and then also at American Express, I got some great training on business development and sales. And at one point, the company hired an outside consultant who specialized in referrals. And that's where I think I learned the most about referral strategy. Some years later, after managing a team of trainers within Ameriprise Financial, I became an outside consultant just like that guy. He just worked with financial advisors, but I've decided, as you know, to work with all kinds of business on referral strategy. So that's how I
Yes.
got into it by working for a company that hired someone that functions similarly to the way that I do now.
All right, so it's kind of like learning with the wolves, so to speak. I could definitely appreciate that, and you and I definitely have a business relationship. I utilize your service to help grow my business. How does what you do and what I do kind of align in this relationship? I really think it's a great.
Yeah, I of course, and I think everyone that knows you senses your passion for your work and helping your clients and helping people in general, including on a personal basis outside of work. And as you know, most people know, referrals are a very cost-effective way to acquire for a business to acquire a new customer or client. And so, compared to marketing and advertising, referrals are better in five ways. So, one is a new customer or client's going to start faster if they come to you by referral than if they come to you by marketing and advertising. They're going to stay longer, be a customer or client longer if they come by referral. They'll generate more revenue per client from the ones that come through referral. And they're more profitable per dollar of revenue. And also, they are more likely to refer. So it begins a cycle that builds upon
Yes.
itself. So by reviewing the cost for each business of client acquisition and comparing what's their overall cost and benefit of client acquisition from marketing and advertising and from referrals, they usually see the savings. So I know you're very passionate about cost savings. So in you and I working together, we want to tap into that passion when you're having your referral conversations, when you're telling your referral stories of success. And that's a great way for your prospective clients and prospective referral sources to know more about your work and to be more likely to hire you and to refer you through those referral stories of success, which really begin with a referral source. They get on, of course, into the prospect that you work with, the benefit that you provide for them, and then they end again with the referral source and the benefit that they get. So that's something that you and I are starting to work on, creating your own referral stories of success.
You stole my thunder. I was going to ask, I love saving money, and you've already said it. That's what I love to do. I love saving money, not just for myself, but for businesses. Can we save money by working together? Certainly, I think we can. And I think you've already kind of hinted on that. But can you expound a little bit on how, for me, this is worth my time and I could save myself a lot of trouble?
Yeah, I think the unique focus on referral source relationships that I have tends to help people expand their thinking about and their efforts related to, their skills related to, the systems related to generating referrals, expanding that beyond what they might say are the people in their BNI group, for example. And that's a very obvious referral group that's created for that purpose. But beyond that, to past customers, to current customers, to past prospects, to prospects, current prospects as referral sources, and of course, other professionals. And so, when looking at my work compared to other business development consulting or other business consulting or sales strategy companies, I think there's really a unique focus and energy and experience given to those. So, Simple answer, yes.
Yeah, hey, not much harder than that. Definitely this idea that we can refer each other business, and that ultimately saves us a lot of time, which is a lot of money in the end. I think this is a good point here for me to kind of, have a little mini consulting session together. I'm a consultant, you're a consultant. We can consult each other. I think a lot of business owners don't understand kind of what consultants do for each other, or even for business owners as the as a profession. So I'd love to kind of role play with you a little bit here, or maybe not even role play, just kind of have a quick session. What do you think?
That sounds great. As you know, I like to follow a five-step methodology that I learned back in my time at American Express. And I like the five because hopefully forever I'll have my five fingers with me and easy to remember the five steps.
Yep.
The first one is to talk about strengths. The thumbs up can help people to remember that. Second one is to talk about goals. And if I asked you to point towards your goals, you'd probably use your second finger, your index finger, to point towards the future. We'll be a little PG on this call, but the third finger might be the problems. I won't put up that finger to show you on the video, but that's the funny one that people recognize. And then for those who are married, the ring finger, the fourth finger, represents a commitment. So that's the commitment to action. And then the pinky provides a little bit of help. So I act as a consultant. I'm not going to be the one to get referrals for them. They got to do that themselves, of course. But as the consultant, I can provide a little support, motivation, accountability. So let's walk through those five steps for you briefly.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that'll give people some more ways to think about generating referrals for themselves. How's
Okay.
that
So
sound?
that sounds great. So I remember the first one, but you're going to walk me through the other ones. Strengths. I really feel my background in financial services and my passion for being, the kind of person who wants to find value in everything that I have. Being that I'm born and raised in Nebraska is something that Warren Buffett actually tells a lot of people, hey, you need to invest in all the right things. And I don't need to invest in that phone call right now, but I certainly want to do that for my customers. That's one of my strengths, and I think I play it very well.
All right, let's talk about strengths that you have. You and I just very recently started working together.
Yeah.
A few different tools. Let's go through the business development plan, the CRM, questions and stories list, and also the activity and results tracking. So four tools to go through. In terms of for you so far, and it is new and it's not complete yet, what are the strengths that you have by having a written business development plan versus what the vast majority of people, they don't have a written business development plan on how they're going to generate more referrals? What strengths do you have in place so far?
Absolutely. I think that's a really great question. And that's something you constantly remind me of every time we talk, is that since I do have it written down, I don't have to have such a great memory, right? And it keeps me focused on what it is that I'm trying to do. And I'm certainly an organized and focused person in day to day things, but I really do think that having it down in paper in black and white is something I think for myself, a trait that I've developed as a very good strength here in this particular instance, because I can see it.
Different clients of mine use the written business development plan in different ways. You're a very positive, uplifting, optimistic, forward thinking, action oriented person. I have another client, I won't tell you who, but he's a little bit more pessimistic, a little bit more a worrywart, someone who kind of mulls over things that are negative. And the business development plan is very helpful for him, as some of your listeners might feel that they're like that. They worry about things, they're anxious, they're concerned. The business development plan helps him because when he's thinking about things, the metaphor I like to use is like one of those bingo ball cages where you're
Mhm.
spinning around the bingo balls, but you can't really see any of the numbers on them. So just worrying about something is sort of like the bingo balls spinning around. You can't really read any of the numbers. But when you put it in writing in the business development plan, whatever you're concerned about as a business owner or professional, someone responsible for generating business and generating referrals, and put your concerns down in writing, it's actually, some people, maybe it's counterintuitive. Some people think, well, that's going to take time, that I need to move forward. But if you're spending a lot of time worrying and being concerned, putting those things in writing in that section of the plan, it goes to strengths and goals and concerns and actions and help, in that concern section, actually helps to avoid wasting too much time worrying and thinking about things again and again. The other tool that you and I work with is what is commonly referred to as a CRM tool. You and
Mhm.
I are actually just right now using a spreadsheet to do that. Maybe in the future you might upgrade to a more robust CRM tool, but just a CRM meaning a database of your contacts, your prospects and clients and professional relationships. And in our spreadsheet, of course, we have a way to organize, rank, and prioritize your referral sources. Why don't you tell folks, in terms of your strengths, what do you have in terms of your database? What's good about that tool? How are you already using it so far?
I do have quite a few people in this list. I have around, 1,500 or so different contacts that I could reach out to. That would ultimately be a little overwhelming if I said, oh, I could reach out to any one of these people. But having the rankings, being able to put more information about each person is something I think is very valuable to me because it takes it out of my head into something that I can physically see. And I can actually do better comparisons of different prospects, where to spend most of my time, right? Because time is very valuable. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to remember different things or different aspects. I can just refer to this resource here and continue to develop it over time, which is something I think a lot of folks find value in when they invest in a CRM or different types of technology too, which is another thing I'm planning on talking to you about in my next session. I actually have started talking to people about various different technologies and how to go, into something like that as well. I think it would be also something to consider.
For your listeners' information, I know you know this, usually at the beginning of my engagement with a business or an individual that I work with, part of that process in the beginning is to compile the database. As you mentioned, you got 1,500 people or so in your spreadsheet. Oftentimes, and your listeners can relate, you've got some people in your cell phone, some people on your LinkedIn, some people on your Facebook, some people, that are in some sort of database like a constant contact email marketing system. If you're an attorney, maybe you have a practice management software where you've got some people. All different types of people use different types of databases, but oftentimes, almost always, and I think your listeners would relate and admit that this is the case for them, they've got people in too many places. And so to compile everybody in one place, all the past prospects and clients, all the current prospects and clients, and all of the professional relationships that are important, then that ranking is so much more significant. So you've done that already. That's a strength.
Mhm.
Another tool that we use is the questions and stories database, a whole list of questions to ask that are formulated in certain steps for relationship building, for referral conversations, and for actually working with your clients. In that case, you would be talking about lowering their costs. Another provider of a different product or service would, of course, be talking about a different subject matter in that third business conversation. So we've put in writing questions that you can ask so that we can sharpen those questions up and put in writing referral stories of success so you can remember to tell them and tell them better. What are the strengths so far? That tab in your spreadsheet that lists your questions and your stories. What are the strengths so far for you?
I think for me, the biggest strength I have when it comes to trying to develop a good rapport relationship with people is being able to go back to those questions and really understand what it is that I value, right? Because I value saving people money, but the questions that I have developed over time, right, so far, have given me the thought that I can get to know someone and understand more of that picture for them as well, so I can better relate to that person, so I can better uh, help them understand what it is I'm trying to bring to the equation for them. Developing a good relationship based around some questions that really kind of fit what it is that I'm trying to offer and what I want people to find value in is something I think is very valuable in what I'm trying to do.
You mentioned a couple of words that I want to key in on, one being value and the other is relate. Relate is the root of relationships, right? So
Hmm.
having a better set of questions to ask and stories to tell should help you to have a better relationship with that person. And
Absolutely.
the other key word that you mentioned, value. If I can, I'll digress for a second. Everybody on the call has probably heard of the golden rule. And the
Hmm.
golden rule goes something like this: do unto others as you want them to do unto you. But I've got for my clients the platinum rule, which
Yes.
is do unto others as they want done unto them, which is sometimes different. I was talking with a tax attorney last night and asking him, he was going to be speaking to a CPA. And he knows that tax transactional attorneys are good for him because he's a tax controversy attorney. And then he was thinking for a moment that he would introduce that CPA to tax transactional attorneys that he knows, that they could both introduce each other to tax transactional attorneys. And that would be the golden rule. But platinum would be to find out from that CPA, who are your best referral sources? Who do you really want to meet? Now, that may be tax transactional attorneys, but it's probably going to be something else. It might be something else. One other tool that we work with, the last tool we'll mention that you have in place and we're starting to use, is an activity and results tracker.
Mhm.
The vast majority, almost all of your listeners probably do not have something like this in place,
No.
unless maybe they work for like a Mass Mutual or Northwestern Mutual or big insurance company, and their company requires them to track their activity and results. But other than that, most people don't have anything to track their activity. They usually have some way to track their results. I'll just use lawyers again as an example. They're going to track their billing because they need to send a bill to the client. They're going to track how many new clients they get because they need to keep track of their client records. But they almost never track, most businesses almost never track the activities that lead to those results. So tracking how many relationship and referral and sales conversations they're having, how many events they're attending, and many other things is really important so that you can see the correlation to the results. Why don't you tell us, what do you have as a strength right now in terms of using an activity and results tracking tool?
I think for myself, before this, fit into the category of my activity was only tracked in maybe a calendar, right? I could go back and look at, or my results were, yes, obviously in what my company was able to produce financially. So sending out invoices or getting bills from other folks. So definitely looking forward to uh, developing more of that. I haven't done a whole lot with the activity and results tracker as much as tracking my uh, different clients and where I'm
Mhm.
at in the relationship with them, as well as all the prospects, like we were talking about initially. And so I want to continue to develop that. I want to further that understanding too, and see how all of that kind of fits into what it is that you're doing here as far as business development and referral relationships. I think that is ultimately the key, the detail, the devil's in the details, right? That is the key to all of this. I think in the end is to make sure that all of these various parts of this whole system that we're creating here is is followed well and is utilized. That data is utilized in a fashion that helps bring a certain result. So I really do appreciate you kind of walking us through all that and helping my audience understand and know there is a difference when you deal with a consultant who specializes in something like this, that understands and can break down a problem that somebody may be having in business and help it to grow in a way that's positive, that's net positive. Where can we get a hold of you? Like, say there's a person in my audience who's like, well, I really want to do some of this. I want to do some consulting with a person like yourself.
Best way to reach me is by email, which I guess you might be able to put in the description
I
or
will. I
in the
absolutely will.
video, which
Mhm.
is thereferralnavigator@gmail.com.
Okay.
And people can also find my website, which is thereferralnavigator.com. People can also find me very easily online because, luckily for me, I'm the only person named Jeff Tockman in the country that I've been
Oh,
able to
there you go.
find.
Nice.
So if you just Google my name, Jeff Tockman, you can find me on LinkedIn. Or, of course, you can call my office at 561 922 9321.
And I will be sure to put all the information that Jeff would like me to share in the description of this video. And that is very unique that you're the only Jeff Talkman. I'm going to try that vanity search for you and see that that actually pans out for sure. I know for others that I've interviewed in the past, that seems to play out when you're in the right areas. But I, yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome aside there to take forward. And I really hope that people can reach out to you. I make nothing. I tell people this. I find exceptional business owners. I highlight their business and I want them to succeed. So that's the reason I created this channel. And I don't want any accolades for if you reach out to Jeff and say, hey, look, Ken, my video or this time here was the my motivation for reaching out to you. I want my audience to know that I truly am the type of person who wants to serve business owners and help them with however they can to save money. You have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, for sure. Briefly, I wanted to just go through the last four steps quickly. We covered the first one in depth.
Okay.
In terms of your goals, got to tell people what's your goal.
My goal this year actually is to save 52 businesses money on their essential expenses, regardless of what it costs me. So there could be a business owner out there that is seeing my channel and relates to me about on something or understands something of a topic and is able to save money. That's a win for me.
Excellent. And then the third step, roadblocks, mistakes. This is the hard part, to admit to your audience something that you're doing the wrong way, something you're wasting time on, something that you should have done that you didn't do and you should have known better. What's the mistake that you've made?
I think for myself, honestly, I wish I could have started this channel sooner. That's one thing that I tell myself all the time. I really do enjoy meeting people, and this has given me that opportunity to meet people. And I think for myself, really coming up with a firm sales strategy. I didn't do it for quite a long time, but I have it now, and I'm very much appreciative of that.
Yeah, I had a client last week. We did our first event together. He's 30 years old, and I know what a great position he's in because he's starting so young. And I was talking last night with a client who's in his 60s, and to summarize, he's saying, "Boy, if I had only knew you back when I started this career, where I would have been." Let's go to the fourth step briefly, and then to the last one, the action plan. In terms of those tools, the business development plan, the CRM, questions and stories, the activity and results tracker, having one-on-one conversations, having three-way calls, moderating your hosting your own event, doing more videos. What are you planning to change and do differently? What are you committing to in front of everybody here that you're going to do that you think is going to generate more referrals from clients and more referrals from professionals? Those two specific things.
That's a really great question. I think part of it for me, believe it or not, is I love my audience here on YouTube and on various different social media platforms, but I'm going to spend more time now that the pandemic is lifting, being out in the open, being available to people. And I think that that is definitely something I've decided to commit more time doing. I will continue to do some of this. I will continue to help others as much as I can, but I truly believe the best way to help other businesses succeed and to grow in their business and ultimately to save money on their expenses, I need to be available to them. And
The last step of the business plan is what I call the help section. And there's a phrase that says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. In other words, I got to have you ask me for help so that I can help you. You might ask me for accountability, advice, training, motivation, tools, systems to moderate three-way calls for you, to moderate events for you. Where do you want my help the most?
wow, that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about this. I think your expertise, given that I knew a lot about you before this and that we've spent some time doing this kind of live or some sort recorded, I really do feel like the level of comfort you have with reaching these topics is something I feel like I need to continue to invest more time in doing, which is being comfortable with these uncomfortable conversations about my business. Always thinking like, how can I best continue this strategy? I think you live that every day of your life. I don't. I just go about my day with the activities I have and say, hey, these are the things that I'm really trying to do, and I certainly appreciate that. But I should
So
definitely want to tie it more back to this
I'm going
focus.
to, what I heard in there is to help you have these conversations that are more comfortable for you and the other people. And of course, I'll help you with that for weeks and months and maybe years into the future. But let me give one piece of advice to help you and everybody
Okay.
else listening to end the call,
Yes.
which is one simple way to get referrals. And it's only a two-step process.
Yes.
If you already have a customer, as you and a lot of people who are listening already do, let's say your customer's name is John. Keep it simple. Ask questions first. First step, find out what he already likes about your business. What do you like about our products? What do you like about our service? What do you like about me? What do you like about the way we communicate? What do you like about the way we follow up? What do you like about this or that? Maybe come up with a list. You can use the ones I gave you, but come up with your own list. Make them open-ended, not closed-ended. Not do you like this or that, but what do you like? Tell me more. Explain to me. Share with me. Open-ended questions. And then when he answers those questions, capture exactly what he says if possible. Capture exactly his language. And this is for neurolinguistic programming experts out there. We're going to capture his language and tap into his synapses in his brain that way. The second part is to ask for referrals using John's language. So if John said you're super duper, then you could say, hey, John, who do you think I should meet who would appreciate someone super duper? If John said you're a nice guy, then say, John, who should I meet who would appreciate a nice guy? Whatever it is he says is good about your product, your service, your company, or you in step number one, use that information to ask for a referral and watch yourself get more and more referrals. So that's one piece of advice for your listeners, a simple two-step process that they can use.
I think it's a perfect one for me because honestly, I think that's exactly what you're what I was trying to say, but you said it a lot more eloquently than me. I want to know what value I bring to the people that I've actually helped. And that is going to be something I have to be specific about understanding and regurgitating to my audience. I really do appreciate your time and thank you very much for doing this. I can't tell you that my life, my business, my life, or whatever. I don't even know how else to really describe it. That this hasn't been such a great relationship for me, and I know it would be for anyone else who's listening or watching this to know that you can develop your business and use an expert, and that expert will definitely find value in what it is you're trying to do and help you to grow in such an amazing way. So thank you very much for that.
I think you did just tell them. You did it. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, I do my best. So thank you very much, Jeff. This has been uh, the interview with Jeff Tockman. Please stay tuned for more interviews like this with very exceptional people. And thank you for your time.